Well, good Tuesday morning. Here we are, another day in Hampton Roads with snow on the ground. We got it yesterday, and we have a lot to talk about today from the weather desk, where we tackle today's top weather headlines. We're really focusing a lot on Southeast Virginia and parts of North Carolina, as this was an area heavily impacted with wintry weather. If you are viewing from other parts of the country and you're wondering what's coming up, because we do spend so much time looking nationally, I am going to get to another storm system impacting some other parts of the country as well. We'll talk about the outlook on kind of a broader view. So again, if you are outside of our viewing area, there's some stuff for you to stick around and enjoy as well. But we are going to focus a lot on Hampton Roads, because we have winter storm snow totals from yesterday through the evening and early this morning. I will let you know. We're really going to check in on where we stand this morning. We've got live reporters out in the field that are going to share what's happening right now. And it has been a snowy and icy start to the day across parts of Hampton Roads. And again, down along the North Carolina, Virginia state line, especially central parts of the Commonwealth and North Carolina, Piedmont, they've gotten some heavy snow there as well. Virginia State Police reported issues. Obviously, last night we've got some facts and figures we'll share with you in a little bit. And we're also tracking that next storm system, and then another opportunity beyond the next one. A couple chances for some more wet weather, or maybe some wintry weather across parts of the region. And we've got more temperature swings to come. Today, a cool day. It gets warmer tomorrow, then we go back. We'll talk about all the stuff coming up here as we look out over the next 10 and even 14 days. So plenty to talk about. Let's start off, though, with a look at what was going on. And you can see across the nation, things are now quiet along the eastern seaboard. Our snowy weather is gone. You can see snow back across the Great Lakes region, Michigan here, the lower peninsula getting hit with a band of snow that is pushing towards Lake Huron. A little bit of snow up around Superior and northern sections of Lake Michigan. We have another storm system here with some warnings out. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. And moisture continues to stream in to the northwest, while the southern half of the country, basically the entire southern half, dry. Few showers down just south of the Florida Keys and South Florida there. But look at how much of the country is dry. All the action kind of moving along the northern tier. So this is a snow coverage reported this morning, and look at Hampton Roads. We're going to zoom in and focus on our area. You can see some of these areas in dark blue, more than 6 inches of snow reported. So there were 6-7 inch snowfalls in some areas out there. It was lighter, 3 to 6 kind of in this area, and then up to about 3 inches parts of the peninsula, which we'll check in on. We'll show you that. There were some higher amounts, though, up in the peninsula. As a matter of fact, well, I'll show you in a second, but there were a couple areas close to 7 inches even on the peninsula. South side, lighter amounts, but there's still some snow on the ground there. So take a look at all of these snow reports that came in. There's a lot going on. I could click on each one of these things and we get different amounts, but it's a lot easier to take a look at a list of those. So while you see we had some snow south side, you're going to find the amounts here lighter, and that was in the forecast. The heavier amounts up in the peninsula, especially Newport News, and then out to the west, there were some really significant snowfalls as well. Here's a look, kind of the listed view rather than having to click on all of those snowflakes. Great Neck, 2 inches. Western Branch, also 2 inches. And again, these are the lighter amounts. Southside Hampton Roads and back out towards Virginia Beach, Princess Anne picked up 1 inch. We had a 1/2 inch at Norfolk International. Other parts of Virginia Beach did see some more of that. We did get 2 to 3 inches in a few other locations. Out in Wakefield, where our National Weather Service office is, we had 6.5 inches there. James City County, Toano specifically, 4.5 inches, along with Bayview. Now, this is on the eastern shore, Northampton County, so some significant snow there. Also Rushmere there in the little tip there of Isle of Wight, and then Poquoson picking up just under 4 inches. Looking at Menchville, Newport News, 6.9 inches of snow there. One of the big areas as far as the heaviest snowfalls. Also Denby picking up almost 6 inches. White Marsh and Gloucester, 4.5, and then Newport News and Suffolk, lesser amounts, 3.5 inches to 3 inches there at Kilby in Suffolk. Bottom line, a lot of snow across the area. And these feels like temperatures, you know, if the kids are going out to play in the snow out to the west, they've got to bundle up. Franklin feeling like 19 degrees right now, 21 at West Point, 24 in Wakefield. Right now, Elizabeth City feels like 23, feeling like 25 at Hampton, 24 in Virginia Beach, and 21 at Melfa. So really chilly out there, and we are looking live right now with the Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview at a snow-covered city center at Oyster Point. So we take a look at this again. It's a very serene, beautiful, picturesque scene right now. But early this morning up in Newport News, these workers, we've got some time lapse of their efforts to clear some of that snow, shoveling the sidewalks around Oyster Point. This was about 5 a.m. They were working hard up there, and Madison Schlegel has been monitoring the conditions. You've gone from crews working to crews playing behind you. Madison, talk to us about the snow up there.
Hey, Craig, you know, you said if the children are out playing in the snow today, well, guess what? I found them. It's this early in the morning, and already kids are getting after it. We're here on Museum Drive in Newport News, and take a look at these kids. Let me tell you, we've been over here. We heard their laughters all the way from the Noland Trail, and I said, I think we need to find where that laughter's coming from. Lo and behold, here we have it. We've got more than half a dozen kids out here enjoying the time. We've got their parents out here, too. We even have a puppy out here. I mean, if you're thinking about a snow day, Craig, this is it. Look at this kid sliding so far, goes into the forest. You know, we've got parents running after kids because the snow is so slick that even coming down this hill, they're crashing into the leaves and into the forest down there. Truly a hilarious sight to watch. We've got some kids who are showing up, showing out, and Craig, it doesn't get much better than this, no?
No, this looks amazing. All right, so Madison, we talked about this. You've been in snowy climates before. I spent time in Chicago, Detroit, New Jersey, Utah. I mean, we love the snow to play in that. Have you jumped on a sled yet this morning?
Funny you ask that, because, you know, Jaron has told me that I need to hop on one, but I haven't commandeered one from these children yet, because I feel like they're the ones that should have the joy, and who am I to steal the joy from a child and say, hey, give me that sled? You know, it's about the children. It's not about me.
You are so considerate that way, Madison. I want to tell you though, your work this morning has been phenomenal. You were talking about how, as beautiful as it is, you shake off that top layer of snow, and you were finding a lot of ice kind of beneath it. Talk to us a little bit about the conditions you saw at different places. A lot of ice and chunks of ice underneath some of that snowfall.
Yeah, Craig, we started out this morning in Colonial Williamsburg, and that was kind of the first place that I did the shake the branch test. And like you mentioned, we saw a nice cover of snow that came off of that, but underneath that snow, the branch was still pretty heavy, and that's because it was still covered in ice. So we've seen that condition not just on the trees, but also on the roads here. Take that to Newport News. When we were in City Center out at Oyster Point, we did another one of those shake tests on one of those branches, and again, you could just see the thick coating of ice that was on top of those branches. Again, same with the roads. We've gotten the opportunity to be on those busier roads where we've seen how the snow is ramping down a little bit. But on top of that, we end up seeing some of those side smaller roads, and that's where you're seeing a lot of the snow and ice accumulate, because the crews aren't going through neighborhood or side streets today to do that cleanup. They're basically sticking through all of those main thoroughfares. So again, those residential areas, those neighborhoods, that's where those streets are going to see that thick coating of ice, just like we saw on those leaves earlier this morning.
One more quick question before I let you hit the slopes yourself there, Madison. What advice would you have? You've had a chance to see firsthand what sidewalks and some of those pathways are like. For folks that are maybe inside still, that aren't as crazy about the snow, do you have any specific advice based on what you've seen this morning?
Based on what we've seen this morning, honestly, what I would say was probably the most stark contrast was that we were watching a crew in Newport News down there in City Center. They were shoveling that snow. We watched them come by and do one pass, and still that sidewalk was still covered in ice. We actually had to watch that same crew come back again and hit that ice again. And even after the second time they went through with those shovels, we still were able to see the ice. So I'm telling people, if you're out there walking from your car into work today, if you're walking from your car into a store real quick to run an errand, be sure to put your eyes to the pavement to make sure that you're not slipping on any of that surprise ice that might be waiting for you.
Madison, thank you so much. Again, your work this morning has been awesome. I would tell you to go hit the slopes and enjoy some sledding, but only if you're comfortable with it, and find some hot chocolate as well. Thank you so much, Madison. All right, we're going to take a look right now at the traffic conditions. And as we take a look here, we'll switch up from Newport News, where we now have 34 at the airport. Some areas kind of borderline, but we still see some areas that are looking a little shiny. This is a Chesapeake Expressway, and we continue to monitor that. I believe Marta Berglund is standing by now. And again, the snow this morning certainly making the commute a little more difficult in some spots. Rush hour ended about 15 minutes or so ago, and we're interested to hear from Marta how things are looking now. Has it had to slow down at all, or has volume just been pretty light?
I think it's been light, and I think we're actually going to push rush hour a little bit back today because we have so many 2-hour delays in place throughout Hampton Road. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for staying with us here on 13 News Now Plus. I'm watching two areas right now. The downtown tunnel and Berkeley Bridge has a lot of red in this area. We did actually just have a bridge opening, so that's the reason for that. And then we did have a crash within the last few minutes on the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel heading westbound this morning. So continuing to watch that and seeing some congestion build up as people cross the water. Want to take you to the latest live look, and it does appear that westbound traffic is moving, but you can see delays as people try to head towards the HRBT to cross over to the peninsula. So watching that area, this is an area where the sun is coming down. It's bright. It may be cold outside, but it's an interstate, and with that, we're not seeing a lot of ice in that area. However, it just really depends on where you are. I-664 in Suffolk, we've definitely got we've got snow on the grass this morning. That's still cold out there. You may encounter some slick spots, especially on those exit ramps for the interstate entrance ramps, secondary roads, etc. And then taking you up to Gloucester Point, of course, this is an area that saw heavy snow. And with that, we have the ice that Madison was showing us, especially in those turn lanes on the shoulders and then those less trafficked lanes. We even have a special guest, this icicle, crossing over the camera this morning. So something to keep an eye on. The Berkeley Bridge set to open at 11, the James River Bridge at 9:30, 10:30, and 11:30. So definitely a lighter traffic day, Craig, but with those icy conditions, you can never be too careful.
Doing it all for us this morning, anchoring and then also keeping an eye to the traffic. We appreciate that. You know, last evening, the Virginia State Police saw an increase in accidents across the Commonwealth. And again, not really a surprise given the wintry weather. Troopers responded to more than 150 crashes. And while most of those were in the western parts of the state, Hampton Roads did report at least 23 accidents, including 3 with injuries. Derek Lytle has the details.
Snow, sleet, and gloomy conditions for drivers in Virginia Monday.
It was quiet this morning, and then it's gotten progressively worse as the day has gone on, as the temperatures have dropped.
Sergeant Jessica Sheehan with Virginia State Police says they saw an increase in crashes caused by the snow, leaving many motorists in the ditch, but there's at least one good takeaway.
So we've had a lot of crashes across the state, but they've not been anything with significant injury to them, no fatalities, so that's been good. But it has been a lot of, bump ups, people sliding into guardrails, things like that.
She says regardless of messaging put out ahead of the storm, people have jobs and responsibilities that force them out of the house, so they stay ready to respond, having extra dispatchers and state troopers working through the snowstorm.
Even if we tell people all day long not to go out, they're still going to go out because people have lives. They've got places that they need to be and things that they need to do. And sometimes, it just happens. So we have to be out there and respond to them quick.
She says it can be vital to check your car's battery and wiper fluid before heading out, and always keep an emergency kit in your car.
Blanket and a bottle of water and a flashlight and a cell phone charger can really, really help if you do get into a crash. So make sure you have a little go kit with you.
All right, we need to take a quick 2-minute break. When we come back, we're going to have an update with the conditions on the south side. We've got some viewer pictures that we're really excited to show you from across Hampton Roads, and I'll have the forecast tracking another system with the week ahead. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. I hope your Tuesday's off to a great start. Still really cold, as you can see, across interior portions of North Carolina. We had a weather advisory, a winter weather advisory that was set until 9 o'clock this morning. That has expired, but some of these temperatures still sub-freezing, so you still need to be alert to some icy patches. Even these inland spots closer to the coast, it is warmer, well above freezing at the Outer Banks, and then low to mid-30s around Jarvisburg and Alligator, a little bit milder there, Currituck. Across the south side, it's chilly in Virginia Beach right now, low 30s for most. It is 35. Right at the ocean front, we have low 30s down across much of Chesapeake, 31 at the regional airport, 32 at Hickory, Great Bridge at 33, out to the west, upper 20s to near 30 out across Suffolk. Want to focus on Norfolk right now. Temperatures here around 32 to 34 degrees from Larchmont to the airport, 33 at Churchland there in Portsmouth. We have on the south side areas that got some snow as well. Now, the amounts that we had for south side were much lower, but there were a few spots that might have been a little surprised. Hey, we actually got 2 to 3 inches of snow in some parts of Virginia Beach. And I want to check in with Norfolk right now because Jeremiah Beatty has been out and you've been running around the entire region as well. Jeremiah, good morning. I hope you're staying warm. Tell us what you've been seeing.
Hey, Craig, good morning to you. Yes, I've been staying as warm as possible. Like you said, the temperatures are cold, between 32 and 34, I think you just said there. So it is very cold out here. We've seen a lot of snow around Hampton Roads. And I mean, I started in Suffolk this morning, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and now we're back in Norfolk. So it's been very cold out and about. But if you take a look around me, the snow that we saw a lot this morning is now just melting away here, but it's still cold. I still feel some wind gusts, but it's starting to clear up. The roads so far, I've been reporting all morning long. We did see some wet spots, some slick spots, but that's starting to kind of clear up in some areas. I'm standing here along Colley Avenue, so you can kind of see the hustle and bustle here. It's not causing any issues for people on the roadway. We even have some pedestrians walking down, so they're enjoying the cold weather, but they're bundled up, and that's like another big component of this weather day. It's just to bundle up, keep your gloves on, your scarf on, your coat on, but the snow is starting to melt away. That's all I will say for you all this morning.
That's some good news for those that want to get things back to business, and that's despite some of those areas with temperatures a little bit below freezing. Jeremiah, before I let you go, though, you do have a great perspective because, like you said, you started in Suffolk, you went to Chesapeake, I think you've been out towards the beach, you've been all over South Side. Any places where the roads were a little bit touch and go, or things generally been pretty good for you?
I want to say Suffolk and Virginia Beach. I will say earlier this morning we were out in Suffolk around 4 a.m. The roads were still wet. We definitely did see some slick spots, but as the morning kind of continued on, we started to see some melting. And then in Virginia Beach, that Great Neck Road, we also saw some slick spots out there. But it's kind of the same trend that we've been seeing early morning hours. It was very cold, very slick, ice on the roads, and as the sunlight comes up, daylight picks up, that has subsided. But I will say Suffolk and Virginia Beach seem to have the most ice on the roads this morning.
All right. Well, Jeremiah, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us here on the Weather Desk. And thanks for getting up so early and out there this morning on Daybreak. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you. All right. We're going to take a look at the temperatures now across the region. As I mentioned, we do have some areas upper 20s to low 30s, low to mid 30s there closer to the coast in Virginia Beach, upper 20s to near 30 for the peninsula. And we've been getting a lot of pictures coming into the station. You can see the temperatures upper 20s for the eastern shore. On days like this, when the weather's a top headline, those pictures help, and sent in by our viewers, they help us tell the story. Now, Marta Berglund is back, and you've got to look at some photos and videos shared by some of you. Marta.
Yeah, we had so many people send them in, so thank you so much. As Craig mentioned, it really helps us understand what the region is looking like. So let's give a shout out to some of our viewers who sent in photos and videos. This is in Newport News. Rita Furr sent that in yesterday afternoon, and this is near Patrick Henry Mall. Then a different look at the region. This is in Kempsville. Susan Hutton sent this in just before 6 p.m. and you can see that snow starting to settle on the porch there. Let's next move to Norfolk. Will Bernstein sent this in last night. This is near Little Creek and Chesapeake Boulevard. Fortunately, the snow didn't really stick to the ground in this area, but you can see it still made it wet. And then, of course, we had some icing as a result. If you're seeing snow or icy conditions where you are, snap a picture and send it to us. You can just text them to the number on your screen. That's 757-628-6200, and make sure to include your name and, of course, where the photo was taken, and maybe you could be featured on the show. Craig.
Marta, thanks again so much for all your work this morning, not only anchoring, but also covering traffic. She did a great job. All right, temperatures this morning, still sub-freezing for some. We've got temperatures in the lower to mid-30s closer to the coast. We've been saying it's pretty steady there this morning. As we head towards the lunch hour, we're going to be close to 37, maybe 38 degrees. Afternoon highs, upper 30s to low 40s across the region, and a mix of clouds and sunshine. Now, with the temperatures getting above freezing and the sun shining on the snow, we're getting a little bit of melting. We'll see some more of that. There is a concern that what doesn't completely melt and dry up, we could see some refreezing early tomorrow morning as temperatures are going to be back down in the low 30s again and upper 20s for some inland spots. We are dry, though. As we turn our attention back across the north central U.S., I mentioned there's another storm system. Look at the winter storm warnings here, winter storm watches and advisories that are out from Wisconsin through Minnesota up into North Dakota. A little more wintry weather potentially back across Wyoming and Montana as well. Want to focus on the snow pushing across Michigan and towards Lake Huron. Some steady, heavier snow there. Of course, they deal with that snow up in Michigan. They're like, come on, we love this. They like to, get out and cross-country ski and maybe do some snowmobiling up there. Beautiful stuff. But it can impact that travel. So if you're going up towards Detroit, you'll want to monitor your conditions there. This is kind of a mess across North Dakota here. You got Minot, and it looks like a little bit of a surge of slightly warmer air in there with the radar depicting some rain and snow mixing. Kind of interesting. Bismarck had that mix earlier with the transition to rain, so they're getting a little infusion of warmer air kind of wrapping up into that system. More rain coming into the northwest. That, you get that ocean air coming in, the river, the atmospheric river we talk about so much, bringing in more moisture to the northwest U.S., so we'll continue to monitor that. As we pick up the surface features, we do have this warm front that is lifting through the area. High pressure will slide offshore. That's going to allow for a southwest wind, and it's eventually going to warm us up. Here, again, you're seeing a little bit of a surge of warmer air here just getting pulled up into the system, which is why you're getting a little bit of that transition. You'll notice this dives to the east-southeast, but it doesn't make it here to Hampton Roads. That snow stays off to the north, so it looks like as we go through the day tomorrow, some more snow for the northeast, Pennsylvania, rain back through West Virginia and Kentucky initially, with the transition to snow later as we go through the overnight Wednesday into early Thursday. We're still looking pretty dry here today, tomorrow, and Thursday, but Friday, there's some question when you look ahead as to how things may play out. I'm going to show you two of the extended views in a moment. Temperatures have been chilly over the last week. Our normal high is 56 here in Hampton Roads. I just wanted to share this with you. As we go forward, temperatures stay below average over the next 10 days. It is going to be cold. You can see drier than normal conditions expected 8 to 14 days for the central and southwest U.S., wetter than normal for the northwest, and we're going to be pretty close to average on the east coast. Temperatures, look at this, finally. Some signs that it may actually warm a bit above average, but we got to wait from the 17th to the 23rd, still below normal for the northeast. And look at this, much above normal for the southwest U.S. So it looks like the pattern, at least here in the mid-Atlantic, may be breaking once we get out 8 to 14 days. All right, in the meantime, we've got a chilly day today, upper 30s to low 40s. That's it. Cold again tonight with partly cloudy skies, upper 20s to low 30s. As we go through the day tomorrow, southwest winds drive our temperatures up. We're going to see highs back up into the low 50s. And as we go into Thursday, we're going to be looking at temperatures coming back down. There's that wind shift. So that's that up and down kind of temperature swings and a bit of a roller coaster. Out on the Atlantic water, we still have a small craft advisory up for the next, say, half an hour or so. Things have improved on the bay. There's a look ahead. Slight chances for showers on Friday and Sunday. You see here, this is the GFS, and we don't have much of a chance there. You can see Friday or really Sunday. On the Euro, it does bring in a little bit of precip, so we're going to be watching for that. Again, this would be Friday into Saturday, or excuse me, Friday night. You can see how it brings a little bit in there, but then it moves it out, and again on Sunday. So that's why there's still some question, but there is that chance for a little unsettled weather. Slight chance late Friday, a little bit better chance later Sunday. As for the next 7 days, temperatures staying below average. So that's how we're shaping up. Want to thank you for joining us here on the Weather Desk. Remember, you can always get the forecast when you download the 13 News Now mobile app. And keep checking back with us right here on the Weather Desk. We do it each and every day starting at 9. Until next time, have a good one.